The best rapper for every skill by Rap Chronicle. Let's get active. Let's get negative. I'm here to disagree and agree. Both of them, all right? If you're not here for reactors yapping all in the videos, take your ass that way, all right? It's going to be a lot of yapping, a whole lot of energy. And if you like yapping and energy, you came to the right place. I'm being honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm going to keep it a bean with you. It's going to be some yapping in this bitch, all right?
Today,
because that's what we do when we hear rap videos, all right? That's what we do. That's what we do when we hear rap discourse. We disagree and we agree. That is what it is.
we'll be going over a really interesting topic. Who is the greatest rapper for every musical skill?
Let's talk about it.
Is it flows, lyrical ability, storytelling? We'll be going through all of them in this video. But before we get into it, let me set 3 quick ground rules for this video, because I already know this video is going to have the comment section on fire.
Always does when it comes to rap.
1, I split every skill into 2 categories, old school and modern. So don't be surprised when you don't see new rappers going up against the legends. They each get their own lane. 2, this is strictly my opinion.
Which is very important to say up front. Because music is subjective. I'll say it again because he added it. I'm going to add it. I'm going to interject. Music is subjective. Okay? I don't know why we have to say that, but we do.
You don't have
also based on our individual enjoyment as well, to be honest.
to agree, but that's why we have a comment section. So feel free to express your opinion. And 3, feel free to debate it respectfully. I'm always down to chop it up with y'all. All right, let's get into it. Don't forget to subscribe while you're here because it helps a ton.
Solid ground.
Starting off with one of the most important parts of rapping, flow.
All right.
When you talk about flow, it isn't just your ability to rhyme, but also the way a rapper just effortlessly rides off the rhythm of a beat.
Your cadences, your rhythm, the way you use your voice, the way you use inflections, dips and drops in certain words that you want to emphasize. It's really, you're an orator, all right? When it comes to skill, you're an orator in terms of the flow, and you're just making it sound interesting in a way. It's like you have your own meter that you're counting the rhythm on. You're counting the beats, and you hear the beat, right? Okay, this is how I interpret flow. You hear the beat, and the best person that flows, their voice is just one of the instruments in the beat. And this is how we find the pocket, and this is how we find exactly what the beat is giving us as artists. And then you kind of pick and choose, you know, if it's on the downbeat, upbeat, you're going to manipulate your words to fit what's giving you in the beat. That's how I interpret flow.
Doesn't have to be forced. You just got to let it flow. For the old school pick, we're going with Biggie Small.
Fire. We rolling. We rocking already.
His flow was so smooth, it felt like he was skating on the beat. He made it sound effortless, no matter the tempo or topic, whether he was telling a story or flexing.
Which probably came because he listened to a lot of things outside of rap, like soul, R&B, stuff like that. So him coming into that with a different ear, because singers approach production and they approach this melody in general different than if you're just a pure rapper. So if you listen to a lot of rap and only rap and your diet is only rap, I can tell that like from a rapper. But if you listen to all different types of genres of music, I can also tell because you're going to approach it like your canvas, and the way you approach the beat is a lot wider and broader.
Biggie made the beat his playground. For the modern era, that goes to Jig.
Cool. Who can I think? It would be XXX if he was still alive. Ski Mask is in there. Ski Mask has a great flow. Kenny Mason's in there. Denzel Curry's in there. Who do I think of flow in the new era? Who do I think of flow? Off the top, that's who I can think of.
His flow is unpredictable and clean. He switches pockets mid-bar and still keeps everything tight. Honorable mentions for flow go to rappers like J. Cole, Rakim, Eminem, and more. Now, let's talk delivery. It's not always about the lyrics or what you say. It's about how you say it. Delivery matters a lot because you can have the best lyrics, but when not delivered well, the song just feels like it's missing something. The rapper that I feel stands out in this for the old school is DMX.
Fair. I'm rolling already. I'm rolling.
When DMX rapped, you felt it in your chest. His voice was pure energy. He barked, growled, whispered, screamed, and somehow it all worked. Every line felt urgent, like it had to be said right then and there. For modern, I'm giving it the Pusha T.
I'm also giving flow. Just think about modern. I'm giving flow to Freddie Gibbs as well. If we're talking modern, Freddie Gibbs is in there too. To be honest, like, or maybe if you're looking for diversity of flow and you're like, he's not diverse enough, and maybe he stays in similar pocket, but that bald nigga be rapping. I ain't gonna hold you.
The calm menace in his delivery is something else. He never raises his voice, but every line cuts deep.
Scathing, yeah. I'm rolling already. I don't have much disagreements. I'm just adding some additional picks, so to speak. But
yeah. No mumbles or splutters. He raps like his bars could pierce through concrete. And for that, he stands out especially in an era where all deliveries sound almost the same.
For the old school, I'm adding Big Pun as well, obviously, right?
Some other MCs whose deliveries stand out include Ice Cube, Westside Gun, Rick Ross.
Why did you say Westside Gun? Okay, all right.
And more.
Moving on to lyricism. It was really hard to pick out my winners for this category, especially in a genre like hip-hop where lyricism is very important if you want to stand out. So I decided my old school pick to be MF Doom.
Not bad. Body of work, understandable. Lupe, he's an alien. Big L, alien, but you know, his career was cut short. There's a lot you can choose from.
Because of just how top tier his pen game is. His lyrics were filled with metaphors, double entendres, obscure references, and bizarre wordplay.
In the new generation, I'm picking Wale.
You had to run his verses back 3 times just to catch half of it. For the modern era, I'll go with Lupe Fiasco.
I think he's more... Lupe came out 05. I think we're teetering on old school as well. I don't know if that's still modern. You let me know in the comment box if that's still modern. Either way, he deserves to be here. Facts.
Fiasco. Yes, he's underrated, but I feel like his pen game deserves more attention. Bro raps like a college professor with bars.
I don't know if you ever heard. I don't know where you rank as a Lupe Fiasco fan. Like, this is what I've always said, right? When it comes to Lupe, murals. When I hear murals, there's nothing really to prove. After that, I would probably stop rapping and pursue other endeavors because I've clearly capped out in skill. After you write a song like Murals from Lupe Fiasco, how much better can you get at rapping? I feel like you kind of hit your ceiling, you know, and just what other things could you do? The only knock on Lupe that I have is non-rapping shit. When he pushed that stupid AI shit, it was like an AI app to take the effort and the time spent for rappers to build their skill, and it was basically a cheating mechanism. I think you know what I mean. That's the only knock that I have by contributing the war against rapping. That's the only thing I have. But as far as pure rap skill and what he's contributed, he's an alien. Facts.
He dives into politics, philosophy,
culture. He was a ball bag for doing that AI shit though.
Culture, and still manages to keep it fly. Some of his tracks are so layered they could be studied like poetry. He may not be one of the biggest when it came to streams, but his lyricism stands out to me. Honorable mentions for lyricism go to Nas, Black Thought, Kendrick Lamar, and more.
Black Thought's gonna be in there always, yeah.
Alright, now let's get into versatility. This is an artist's ability to thrive in multiple styles and genres, and their ability to put out
Drake should go in here. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but Drake should be at the top of this list.
Tracks that appeal to different audiences.
This particular, not the whole entire list, but this particular category.
Lil Wayne is the old school pick here. In his prime, Wayne could go pop, reggae, rock, and still out-rap anyone.
I'm rolling.
I've always admired his ability to work with different genres and collab with different generations of rappers and still murder the track. Modern pick? It's gotta be Drake.
We're rolling, buddy. Me and this dude will be great friends. We're rolling, ladies.
Not just because he comes from Lil Wayne's camp, but come on, his versatility is undeniable. Love him or hate him, the man's a musical chameleon. He's done boom bap, R&B, drill, Afrobeat, trap.
He's done it all.
Pop, and always nails it. The craziest part is that he usually does this in multiple languages. He knows how to adapt and still sound like himself.
And he's opened the doors to, like, if you don't like him particularly representing the different cultures that he taps into in the different genres, he's at least opened the conversation, opened the borders and the floodgates for us to pick the artists from separate genres that we are gonna like. Say if he does Afro pop type of adjacent, well, I was able to find Burna Boy, I was able to find Wizkid, I was able to find Thames, I was able to find all these different people. Like, and if he does like the London show, I was able to find Central C. I end up finding like, it just opens the entire right. You can find Skepta, you can find Wiley, like all these different people. Not to say that I found Little Sims through Drake, but it made it like you shine a spotlight on their culture. More people just naturally peek through, because now that the spotlight, it's like what Chief Keef or Sosa did for drill, right? Like, it shined a light on them. So you found all these different artists through drill. You found all these different artists. And it even comes with R&B, like how niche that R&B is, because Drake dabbles in R&B. You're gonna find people like Giveon and different, like, you know, things like that.
Some other rappers who I admire their versatility include Kanye West, Lil Yachty, and Tyler the Creator.
Lil Yachty, and I'm a proud little Yachty hater. Oh yeah, I'm proud. Yeah, I don't see what y'all see in Yachty. I don't. Facts. I don't. I think he's ass. Maybe it's his personality. I think he's a sucker. I ain't gonna lie. I think he's some ass. But that's just me.
Now let's talk.
Shout out to Tyler. I'm a Tyler fan. Shout out to the West Side.
Influence. Hip-hop is not always about how many records you sell, the number of streams you get, and all that. Sometimes it's about the legacy you leave behind and how you impact the younger generation of MCs. For old school, it's Tupac, easily. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a movement. From the late 2000s to even this present day, everyone tried to imitate the thug poet persona Tupac represented. His music reached people on a spiritual and emotional level.
And he had a very preacher-like delivery, like his cadence. Like Shock G was breaking down the difference between Biggie and Pac. God rest the dead, all three of them. But he was saying that Biggie had that more like type of pimp type of cadence and stuff like that from that. They both had influences from the street, but like he had, because of Tupac's lineage to like the Black Panthers and all these different revolutionaries, he spoke as like a revolutionary, and that's why it cultivated such a strong reaction out of people, to be honest. And he was dope.
His influence goes way beyond rap, into activism, film, and even fashion. For the modern era, Kanye West is clear. Kanye reshaped how rap sounds multiple times.
I also think Hove belongs here too. Jay-Z belongs. If you only pick Kanye, I mean, Kanye definitely has that lineage, but yeah. I think it and it also depends on, I don't know who the young niggas are looking at from Chicago, but I heard that the young niggas are not even listening to Kanye anymore. So it may be Cardi in terms of influence, but it starts from somewhere. He's very much old school as well, because Ye's been in the game since like 03, 2000, so he belongs in the old school category as well. So I don't know if you want to put Cardi here. You know, it depends.
From soul samples to 808s to experimental pop fusion, he changed the sonic landscape again and again. And a close second has to be Future.
Pluto's definitely in there. Yeah, Pluto's in there.
Whose sound basically raised a generation of trap artists. But as for Kanye,
Pluto, Gucci, Cardi,
he boasts of being the influence behind many of the biggest names in the game today. He claims he inspired many big names like Travis Scott, Drake, Kid Cudi, and I feel like he was right, because his influence is just unmatched.
Keef is definitely in there too. Sosa's in there too.
Honorable mentions for influence include Future, Lil Wayne, Keef Chafe, and Nas.
Is this nigga purposely butchering their names, or he's just doing it for engagement so he can be like, you're saying their names wrong, man?
These
rappers, it sounds like this nigga saying handkerchief.
Rappers helped shape the sound and style of the new generation of rappers.
Moving down to storytelling.
Okay, this is where definitely Dot belongs in here. Cole belongs in here. You might want to throw Immortal Technique in here. Blue in here. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people you can throw in here. I'm gonna see who you got.
This is the ability of a rapper to paint a picture with
Nas is in here, of course.
his rhymes, making you feel like you were actually there while making you vibe to it at the same time. Many old school rappers stand out in this category.
Scarface.
The likes of Eminem, Biggie Smalls, Nas, and so much more. But there's one rapper who has mastered the art of storytelling,
Andre 3000, probably.
and that is none other than
Slick Rick. Okay.
Slick Rick.
Okay.
The art of storytelling wasn't just an album. It was his whole identity, what he represented as an artist. He had vivid characters, wild plots, humor, and heart. He told stories like some kind of hip-hop Shakespeare. For the modern era, you gotta give it to Kendrick Lamar.
Fair.
No question. Kendrick weaves stories into his songs with such detail and emotion, it feels like you're watching a movie.
Fair.
Whether it's about his upbringing, society, or someone else's life, he pulls you in every time. He's done this on several tracks such as Duckworth, Sing About Me, and many more.
He's a masterful storyteller, for sure.
Some other MCs that stand out in this category include Nas, Eminem, Biggie, J. Cole, and Immortal Technique.
I figured as much. Immortal Technique would be in there.
Up next, album sales and
It's
streams.
gonna be Drake. It's gonna be Jay-Z. I'm thinking any other artists that always sells at least 250. Meek Mill used to, but Meek Mill is not gonna be in this list. He's not gonna be in this. So we'll see. We'll see who's in there. Future, Pluto's definitely gonna be in here.
This category is kind of complicated because before streaming was invented,
You also got to throw. I know a lot of y'all don't want to throw XXXTentacion in. He's top 10 in streaming from the grave. The kid died in 2018, and he's still top 10 in streaming every year. This shit is ridiculous. The influence he had, the fact that he's not in here, in any category is. I understand, but I don't understand at the same time.
rappers relied solely on album sales for mainstream success. While in this modern era, I'll be using the streaming numbers and monthly listeners to decide.
I don't really like, if we're going to use streaming numbers and monthly listeners and impact, real life trends. Okay, so the streaming numbers can be a facade, and the monthly numbers can also be a facade. But if we're going off of numbers currently, it has to be Doechii, because I know y'all saw that YouTube stat, like she's like top 10, including Eminem. So if we're gonna do that, Doja Cat has to be in there. Nicki has to be in there. Russ has to be there in terms of hard ticket sales. Of course, Eminem is always gonna be in there. And Drake for sure.
The old school pick for me is Tupac. He went diamond with All Eyes on Me and sold crazy numbers even while dealing with legal drama and social controversy. His music moved serious units and still does. For the modern era, you gotta give it to Drake.
Yeah, he's in there. He's in the conversation.
The man breaks his own streaming records on a yearly basis.
I don't have any critique on who he's picking. The only small critique I would have is just showing the range of like alternative picks. Like, okay, we know Drake is there, but who else can you think of? Who else can you pull that's just like, yeah, I didn't expect that, but yeah, the numbers suggest that they are there, 100%.
First week sales, chart placements, digital numbers. It's not even close right now. Love him or hate him, his numbers just don't lie. Other rappers that have had their own shares of mainstream success are Eminem, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, and Travis Scott.
He's a very old school type of listener, I can tell.
Let's move down to discography. This was hands down the most difficult category for me to exactly decide, because a lot of rappers have put out some great projects out there with great and flawless album runs. while some haven't been able to keep up with their standards in recent times.
But you'll still put Ye in there regardless if they haven't been able to keep up their standard. I think his hit to not hit ratio is still 60% relatively. At the more that Wayne has aged, the worse his discography has gotten. Some would say that for Eminem. Some may say that for Drake, but I still think Drake is in there. Who else would I say has a top tier discography? Wale has a pretty impressive discography, but he probably won't be involved in this one. I'm always going to stand for Wale, right? In terms of discography. And Big Sean would be in there strictly for mixtape runs. So if we're talking about, because some artists are better mixtape artists than they were album artists. Wayne is definitely was a bigger mixtape act than he was album act. Future is I think both. Future has a good balance.
Take Kanye, for example. He has one of the most reputable discographies out there, but his recent projects fall short of his usual standards. His recent albums were so bad that fans started to question if it was the same Kanye that put out Graduation and The College Dropout. So in this category, I'll not only be taking into consideration the quality of the album runs, but also how long the rapper could retain that quality.
I'm surprised he didn't put Scarface in his joint.
And I know the comments are going to be heated by this category, so feel free to voice your opinions. Old school winner for me is Jay-Z.
Of course.
From Reasonable Doubt to The Blueprint to 444, he's given us classic after classic while evolving and aging gracefully in rap. There's variety, depth, and consistent quality. He's been able to keep up to his standards from the 90s down to this modern era. For that, I gotta give it to Hov. For my modern pick, I would like to shout out names like Pusha T with his flawless discography, Kendrick for giving us classic after classic while shifting his sound. But for this one, I gotta go with Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah, that bald nigga can rap. Yeah, that boy got an unusual head shape. At Alfredo too, masterful.
Gibbs has dropped nothing but heat for over a decade.
Same old phone? Nah.
Young Thug got to come in here as far as influence too, though. Young Thug is also involved in influence. Like we can't leave off Young Thug. And then more recently, probably Gunna.
Yada, Bandana, Alfredo. This guy simply doesn't miss.
Don't miss. I agree.
His catalog is criminally underrated. It's understandable to put names like Outkast, Nas, Kanye, Kendrick, and Tyler in this category, but I'm going to go with those two. Now,
a lot of people from the underground like Earl too in terms of influence. A lot of people like you put Jid in here in terms of like the new school. Like Jid said, one of his biggest influences, of course, is Kendrick, but also Earl Sweatshirt. So Earl's been throwing around a lot in here in terms of his influence.
Freestyles. Some rappers are so good that they just hear a beat and they just.
You got to if we turn freestyles, King Los. King Los is definitely in there. Probably Lupe's in there. Who else is just? Are we talking about like mainstream rappers? Or rappers are just like going in and just blaze a freestyles? I need to know the criteria.
Start spitting from the top of their heads, giving you bars that some other rappers can't even pen down, even when given time to come up with something better. Take Lil Wayne, for example.
Don't you dare put Travis Scott in this muff in terms of freestyles. Don't you dare.
He has claimed on several occasions that he doesn't even need to write. He just enters the booth and boom, the magic happens. But he's not even the one I'm picking. Old school, we got to go with Big L.
Fair.
He was the blueprint.
I like Cameron in this too. His freestyles is pretty fire. A lot of people from Dipset, the old Dipset crew is fire. You know what I mean? You know, J.I. Ryder, Hell Rel. You know what I mean? Lloyd Banks out the G Unit crew. Shit like that, you know?
For raw, witty freestyle.
Fabulous. I know a lot. It's sleeping on Fabulous. Old Desert Storm, DJ Clue tapes.
Energy. My modern pick might sound crazy, but
Joe Budden was crazy too. Like, let's not let the podcast fool you. Joe Budden's in there. Facts.
But I'm gonna go with Juice WRLD. Fans
he was nasty too. He was nasty.
Claimed that about 70% of his insane catalog wasn't written. That he just steps into the booth and lets the magic happen. If this is true, then I guess it justifies why I chose him. Honorable mentions go to Eminem, Lil Wayne, J. Cole, and more. Let's talk longevity. Many rappers do a lot of great things, but some just can't do it for a long time. But the others can keep up with that quality for decades. Falling off doesn't seem to exist for these guys.
The old school pick is Nas.
No one has stayed as relevant, respected, and sharp for as long.
I disagree about that. If the image represented that X doesn't have any longevity, if the kid passed away in 2018 and he's still top 10 in streaming every year from the grave, that's as close to longevity as you're going to get.
He dropped hits in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and even in the 2020s, he's still out rapping people. For the modern era, Lil Wayne. Wayne's been acting since he was a kid and still finds ways to reinvent himself. From his early mixtapes to Carter albums to recent features, he's still going strong. And yes, I know that his latest project fell short of his standards, but
Dog water.
come on, just appreciate his longevity for crying out loud.
I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't that bad. No, I don't think it was as bad as everybody expected it to be. It has some joints in there. I like the record with 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz should be in here as far as longevity goes as well. But the record with 2 Chainz was fire though. I fuck with the 2 Chainz record off that.
Honorable mentions go to Snoop Dogg, Nas, Rick Ross, and more, who seem to still pop out despite doing it for years, even if you don't notice it. Next skill is voice. While some rappers can sing their hearts out, the others, well, can't do just that. One of my best voices from the old school era is Snoop Dogg. As soon as you hear that laid-back drawl, you know it's Snoop. His voice is smooth, iconic, and instantly recognizable. You can put him on any beat and it still sounds like a Snoop record. For the modern era, I'm going to go with J.I.D.
You with J.I.D. tough. Okay.
His voice has character. It cuts through the mix and adds personality to every verse. He can go high-pitched, animated, calm, and it all sounds natural.
I also think he's inspired a lot by Kenny Mason in these times. That's a silence. That's a sleeper. That's a sleeper self. Anybody ain't on Kenny Mason. That's a sleeper.
Honorable mentions Lauryn Hill, who's literally also into R&B, so her voice has to be good. Pop Smoke for that iconic low-pitched voice. Young Thug, Tyler the Creator, and Drake.
Oh, he gave Young Thug his props with that. Okay.
Now to features. Never let these rappers anywhere near your track because they're going to steal the show and turn you into the feature. For old school, I'm giving it to Busta Rhymes. He never mailed in the verse. When Busta hopped on your song, it became his song. Energy, flow, charisma, he brought the whole package. Modern pick and more of a no-brainer, and it's none other than J. Cole. His feature run over the last few years has been ridiculous.
You know, I had a comment recently. I've done a couple of videos recently on J. Cole and his place in the big three, so to speak, and him being the quote unquote middle child that's sandwiched in between Dot and Drake. And I saw an interesting comment that said that if Dot had to go away for J. Cole to take the crown, then he never passed, or he was never close or in proximity to Dot. And I don't think that's necessarily a perspective that I agree with. I understand why that came up with that perspective, but I think he learned over time his place in hip hop, right? And I think we were robbed of that in the beef because it got escalated, the beef of it all, you know, when I'm talking about Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and then J. Cole bowed out with 7-Minute Drill. I think that if it would have stayed rap and not personal, and then we would have got the friendly fade, we were robbed of that once the line was crossed, and then J. Cole had to drop out, and he said, you know, I walked away with my friend's blood on me, right? I thought that Cole was in the most tip-top shape lyrically out of the three. And I think we got to see that in his crazy feature run. And he was doing it in a multitude of different ways over a variety of tracks with different flows, different pockets. And he was also coming up to radio stations and going crazy. And because Jid is mentioned a lot and they're label mates, or he's on Cole's label, I want to hear the album that they recorded together. Jid said that they recorded a smoker, a 12-track smoker. I want to see that come to light, because I think that's a great rollout coming into the fall off. And granted, he doesn't need much of a rollout because there's already so much anticipation. I think that it's going to be high level rapping. And I think he was focused so much early on in his career on trying to make the hits that it took away from what he's naturally good at, which is punchlines, metaphors, and storytelling. And he was able to, because he afforded that luxury, because he made the hits, he was able to focus on rapping, the skill of rapping. And that set him apart from the other two in the Big Three conversation, if it's even a conversation anymore.
Every guest verse sounds like he's trying to prove something. He shows up, shows out, and usually out-raps everybody. He doesn't just steal your track, he murders you on it. He has a lot of perfect features on his belt.
Not quite the Drake effect.
And for that, I really respect him, despite all the recent hate he's been getting. Honorable mentions go to Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, Andre 3000, Ty Dolla $ign, and Kendrick Lamar.
Ty. Are we counting Ty as a rapper? Okay.
Last up is Beat.
I know you ain't gonna like this, but we're gonna throw Tory Lanez in it. I'm just saying. Free Tory. Free Tory. Free Tory. Tory belongs in here.
Selection. My old school pick is MF Doom.
Rick Ross is definitely in here for beat selection.
His beats were unorthodox, lo-fi, jazzy, dusty, and perfect
We're missing Jadakiss too. Mr. No-Whack Verse.
for his style. I don't think there'll ever be a rapper-producer duo like MF Doom and Madlib. Nobody else could make those beats work like he did. For the modern era, Kanye is clear. Nobody touches Ye when it comes to production. He knows how to pick the perfect instrumental, whether it's soulful, dark, electronic, or orchestral. His beat selection is just legendary.
Tyler has a pretty good beat selection. He's pretty good at that.
Names like J. Cole, Tyler the Creator, Alchemist, and Metro Boomin also have great taste when it comes to picking beats. Now before...
Are we talking about... I thought it was I misunderstood that. I thought it was the rapper beat selection, not the one producing it. Because Metro Boomin doesn't really get on his own beats. We're talking about strictly producers that have a great sound selection for rappers to get on. Or are we talking about producers that are also artists?
Before we wrap up, I'd like to do a quick shout out to two really iconic MCs. And I didn't include these two in just one category because they basically belong in all of them. That's Eminem and Andre 3000. Flow, lyrics, delivery, storytelling, creativity, they've got it all.
Freestyles, you're going to throw Saha the Prince in here too, for sure.
You could argue either of them for almost every skill we just covered. So yeah, that's my list. If you're still here, I appreciate you heavy. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know who I missed or who I rated too high or too low.
No, you pretty solid list. I just had other suggestions that you could use, but other than that, great video, bro. I'll drop the original link in the description box if you want to see this video without me yapping on it. Feel free to do so. Yeah, it was a wonderful review. I'm Stilo, by the way. If you want to check out my catalog, I got a bunch of reactions, but I got also videos that I have commentary. I do my own editing style that you can be like, oh, are you just a reaction channel? Not quite, but I do a bulk of my videos that are reactions. But there's other videos. If you come on my channel, you'll see that. Hope you're wonderful, doing well. See you as always. Happy safe. Shwee.